Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. Today I'm talking with Michael Clive, who started the Mojave makerspace, and we're going to chat about how he's got started, what he's doing, and some of the things they're working on, and some advice he has for you if you want to start your own. So Michael, thanks for joining us.
Hi, it's good to be here. I'm glad that I keep running into people as excited about this concept as I am.
Very cool. So kind of a 30-second pitch. What is Mojave Makerspace?
It is a place that isn't a bar, work, or home where you can go and work on your projects and hang out with people that you know and like, and do whatever you want.
Very cool. So, and Mojave is the hotbed of the new space movement, but that's really not just what it was made for. It's really kind of like that other place for people to work on stuff that is engineering, but not necessarily aerospace related.
Yeah, well, here in Mojave, we have pretty much, there are very few new aerospace ventures that do not have some kind of, connection to Mojave. So we're kind of like a hub as people have called us a lot, the Silicon Valley of aerospace. And, I'd be inclined to agree, except Silicon Valley had better restaurants. So what this place is all about is really to kind of like give people an outlet. When I was doing computer graphics for a living, I really needed a place to get out and get my engineering side expressed, because I was all day trying to express my artistic side and all day trying to my assignment was to make stuff look cool and whatever. But and I joined a hackerspace in Culver City called Crashbase, and that really changed my life, and I got a chance to express a lot more of my technical side. And when I moved to Mojave, I kind of wanted to continue that, but I do highly technical stuff all day, so I wanted a place that I could express more of the creative side and kind of the less goal-directed development that I like to do. The stuff I do for fun. And other people take it in many different ways. Like the way I see it is that I provide we Mojave makers provide a canvas, and you bring whatever paint you want, and you paint on it, and we all kind of get together and have a very organic agreement process where things get done. But I, for one, I'm engineering space to be a comfortable place for me to do my non-goal directed development. There are other people that want to develop companies. There are other people that want to, tinker around with airplanes or, build, rockets or whatever. And I'm happy with all of it. I personally enjoy being around people that are productive.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of all over the place, but yeah, it's a really cool spot to go and meet other people who are technical savvy and want to do cool stuff.
Yeah.
So when did you get the idea for this makerspace? Was this something that you've been thinking about for a while? Because it's fairly it opened recently, but is this something you've been working on for some time?
Well, so what happened is I moved out. I was heavily involved in Crashbase down in LA, and I was involved in that for about 2 years. As a facilities manager, I had a lot of tools there. I spent a lot of time there. And a lot of my friends, came from that circle. And when I moved out to Mojave after I got this job here at X-Corp, I, was lacking that in my life. And, the nearest hackerspace was 100 miles away, and I did not like that. So it's always been in the back of my mind to, start one here, but I didn't know. I just needed somebody else to say to me, yeah, let's do that. And that somebody was Ethan, who I met, interested enough. And here's my favorite part of the hackerspaces, and the tools and the machines and the space, all that stuff. Yeah, that's fine. That's cool. I build these places because of the people. So I thought about Ethan through my buddy Jerry Isdale, who runs a hackerspace in Hawaii.
Okay.
And he was reading a blog that says this guy's coming to visit Mojave because he got an internship there. And he's a major member of another makerspace in Alabama, Makers Local 256. And so I got a heads up, about another maker person showing up in Mojave from a guy who runs something in Hawaii. And I'm in Mojave. This guy's coming from Alabama. I invite him to a party. We hang out, and, he and I kind of start, the energy, it takes to get the team together and make it happen. So, we got a team of 5 folks together pretty early on, about January, I'd estimate. And, we started meeting every week and kind of moving forward on stuff. And our big break came when we presented to the East Current Airport District Board. We convinced them to provide us a great deal of assistance of securing our location. And they really love it. They love the idea, and they love the idea of this anything where you have the young engineers in Mojave actually having something to do in Mojave and not immediately driving off to Lancaster. So yeah, the one thing I don't know, listeners of your show don't know is that Mojave is a population of 3,000 people, and the most exciting local nightlife is a Denny's. So we have the world's most sophisticated aerospace program, all around us, and we're the cultural equivalent of. Breadbasket, Texas was more culturally situated, I'd say. Although we are in the shadow of Los Angeles, which is a great advantage.
I mean, lots of cool tools, but then the social life is a little lacking.
Yeah. No, we have lots of cool stuff to do at work, but even then, it's not like we can really talk about what we really, really do at work, because a lot of it's secret. And X-Core, it's decently secret, but, they're clearance people at other companies here who can't even begin to talk about what they do. So by nature, it becomes a very isolating place. And, it was designed to be isolated, in order such that we could do the kind of things we do. And I'm like, that's fine. We can be isolated, but let's not be isolated from each other.
And that's a really good point. So how difficult was it to convince the airport to help you with this?
Actually, easiest sell in the world. This was seriously like the easiest sell, and through this whole process. A bunch of, a few of my advisors and people have been kind of saying, oh, we need to prepare this, oh, we need to do this, and we do all these things. But I always kind of knew that, when you strike a match, you set a fire. So, I walked into the head of the airport office. His name is Stu Witt. He's a great guy. And I barely got 3 words out of my mouth when he had to take a phone call. And by the time he's off the phone call, he told me, I'm on board. It's fine. Yes, we'll do this. And I'm like, is that all? He's like, no, there's a little bit more, but pretty much, yeah, that's all. So, we went through the process, we presented to the airport district, we have a quorum, we have a board of directors, from all different, line companies, I'd name names and labels, but I don't know, some people don't want the actual company associated with exposed, so I won't do that, but,
Fair enough.
It was incredibly easy.
So have the companies themselves in Mojave been supportive of what you're doing?
Kind of. I mean, some of them have been very supportive. Some of them are looking at us with a wary eye because they're concerned of us being a clearinghouse for the kind of secrets that they don't want to get exposed or get out. Basically, there are lots of companies here that depend upon IP and secrets to survive. That's fine. I have no interest in having anybody share that. Or anything. They're just concerned that because there's a bunch of people from other companies hanging out here, that of course people are going to talk and no, their precious company secrets will be exposed. And I'll just say, well, that's called personal responsibility.
But it's like you said, the last thing that you guys want to do is talk about work when you're not there. You're not at work, so you guys want to talk about anything but what you're doing at work. Exactly.
I really have no interest in. I have a roommate who's an aerospace blogger, and I work in the industry and I run a lot of events, and I'm just knee deep in space stuff, and I kind of get really tired of it. So, I'm all about talking about anything but here.
Which I mean that makes sense. So, you've gotten some equipment donated from when I saw your presentation. You had a big CNC machine and all that stuff. Have you gotten more stuff lately?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're actually getting to the point where we're getting a little bit packed. Looking around both rooms, we're going to very, very soon have to start, kind of throwing stuff out almost, or organizing more aggressively. Our big equipment donation, there are kind of 2 sets of equipment donations, and there's all the stuff that I had down at Crash Base, which is milling machines and lathes and et cetera. And I brought them all up. And then, I didn't bring them all up. I mean, we got our team together and we went down there and we loaded up the truck, we had it up here and we got them all over here. Then I have a buddy at Union Swiss Machining Company who, by serendipity happened to have a very powerful machine that he was willing to give us. It's a Daewoo Puma 10S lathe, in decent condition. Very old machine, but still very effective. So we got that donated. We also have a whole bunch of equipment donated from another member, Matthew, Andrew's donated some electronic stuff. We've gotten stuff from our, the local board of directors of the Eastern Airport District. The guy that runs the Radio Shack has given us a lot of stuff. We have first class airline seats that Stu Witt donated to us. We have, parts of a 747 sitting around. We have couches donated by my buddy, Rita Sakaguchi. We got tons of shit, basically. And,
Only Mojave.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, and we haven't even been around. I mean, that's the thing I need to state. We haven't even officially opened doors. Official door opening should be tomorrow. We've had what was called a soft open a few times, and we've collected a few members in the soft open period. But kind of the first month of us, kind of being in the game is, going to be May. And, meaning that tonight I need to get the door lock working. So, we haven't even begun to begin, and we're already very, very well off as far as hackerspace is concerned. So I'm pretty happy and pretty confident about us moving forward.
Which is really cool. Yeah, I mean, it seems like you don't have the normal problem of opening a space and then getting people. It was like the will was there, the need was there, and like you said, you lit the match, and now you're just dealing with the fire.
Well, I wouldn't quite say it's that simple. We do have a issue in that we do need to bring up paying members to a certain level by a certain date, or else we won't be able to pull it off for much longer. I have to say I'm concerned about that. And it's mostly because of two factors. Number one, Mojave salaries are not the same as LA salaries, and number two, the population of Mojave is lower than LA. So in LA, you can sustain 3 or 4 hacker spaces, and in Mojave, I'm trying to sustain 1. And I'm thinking maybe I can leverage a self-selection of the kind of creative people that kind of like to work here against that. All told, I really would like to have about 20 members, 20 to 30 kind of full-time significant members, because right now we have about 5 or 6 that steadily show up, which is cool. But, I want that kind of energy where I can show up and, it's people that I barely know in the space, not people that I've worked with for a while.
So are you self-sustaining at like 20 or 30 paying members? Is that kind of at the point where you guys are good?
Yeah. At about 20 or 30, we're covered, I believe.
Okay, very cool. So do you have any? So have you been getting the word out? Has it all been just word of mouth? Have you done any official marketing, anything like that, or is it just sort of wait and see and kind of see how it goes?
We have marketed heavily within Mojave. Lots. Mojave's not a very big town, so it's very easy to market here. You just basically go to the one sandwich shop and put flyers around, and one of our members' girlfriends baked cupcakes for a bunch of the different companies, and we packed flyers in with the cupcakes and delivered them to various companies. And then we've gotten the word out in the newspaper. We've done Facebook advertisements, and that's how we've gotten a lot of our equipment donation that I even forgot about, like the hydraulic press. Like we decided an advertisement somewhere, and some guy found out about us and decided to come. It's very, we have marketed. I would say that we've done about half the marketing we could. The next step of marketing is physical marketing, where basically we put signage around the building and directing toward the building. And then, that's when we'll start sucking people in via just, being here, which is kind of, I think, the ultimate way to gain members is going to be having people just drive up and be like, I've heard about this place. I want to see it.
Yeah,
the airport's not that big. There are 2,000 people working on it and about 12 companies of note, probably about 50 companies total. The word's out fairly significantly, but, as it moves forward, I hope we can get more. We're also going to be engaged in outreach of high schools, and I'm going to a meeting with a bunch of high schoolers. Oh, yeah, we've also been selected. I don't know if I should talk about this, but yeah, we've been selected for a few more interesting things that will get us a lot of press soon.
That's good.
So,
that's good. And,
yeah.
And Space Frontier, which organization is helping? Is helping?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. It is the
Space Studies Institute.
Space Studies Institute. Robin Snelson and Lee Valentine have been a wonderful help this whole process, and helping us out and kind of getting us started. And as soon as we're our own organization, we will no longer be under their umbrella. But right now we are being, our existence is kind of under their aegis.
Right. So how did you get them involved?
Personal friends of Robin Snelson.
Okay.
Like if you wanted some advice for people that want to start hackerspaces, the number one thing you need is social capital. If you have social capital, then you can get away with anything. The second thing you need is actual physical real capital. That is important. You need something around $3 to $5 grand to really get one of these off the ground. If you're starting from nothing, you need more. But if you're starting from something, about $3 grand outlay, expect that kind of like as a minimum. A lot of people like to start slow, and kind of, I don't really believe in that philosophy. I like to go big or go home. I segued into this because you have the whole social capital thing, which is that, pretty much all the wonderful good things that have happened has been because of social networks, which is, a space like this is designed to reinforce those exact kind of networks. This is where people meet each other. This is where people hang out. This is where people become closer friends and allow future endeavors such as this one to actually happen.
So was it a tougher sell to the Space Studies Institute than it was Mojave? Did they need some convincing, or was it, you had the connections and they really loved the idea, so they just went for it?
Really, there's been absolutely no sales involved on this thing. Basically everybody's, I don't think you quite understand how starving Mojave is for any sense of community. Robin, I told her about the concept at one of my parties. I usually throw these parties every month, and she was all over it, and she kind of, from the shadows manipulated things such that by the time we were presenting to the board of directors, they already were behind it. So she did some stuff that I have no idea what she did, but we're forever grateful for it because, it made it such that there was no sale. It was just basically, we showed up, said, this is what we want to do, and everybody on the board was totally on board with it. It was very, very simple to get this to happen, which is that it should be, because I don't think there really is, the complaints you could have about such a place do exist, and some of them are valid, but, it's one of those things where, like, you balance it out against what the benefits are. Your costs are so much lower than the benefits of a place like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. And if I could change tack for just a second, because I saw the panel where Tim Pickens was talking about the DIY space hacker movement.
Sure.
And I was really curious because I know that the question on that panel was, is our hackerspaces ready for an orbital venture? But I was really curious, kind of looking at what you've seen from hackerspaces and working in industry. Where do you think the tools are almost there, such that a hackerspace could actually create not necessarily an orbital venture, but a CubeSat, a spacecraft, a suborbital rocket? I mean, what are the things that they can do now that weren't even possible 10 years ago with that kind of equipment that you guys have?
Well, the issue again is we're missing the point in that question, and that was kind of the issue I want to make. You're talking, what you're talking about here is there is a technical component of that, right? And if you want me to answer the question of can the equipment of, say, our hackerspace build CubeSat, I would say that give us 3 months of fixing our equipment, and we'd be up there in the ability to make a CubeSat. Could we build a CubeSat? I would say probably not. And that's a social issue, and that's a financial issue. Because basically, when you're dealing with a loosely knit org confederacy like this, to get everybody in the group involved in a top-down structured effort is challenging, and only usually happens when there's a very decent, financial payout for the space or for a shared resource or something. Which is a point I made during the panel, which is that the one time that I saw it happen at Crashbase, when everybody teamed up and everything, was when we had about $5 grand on the line for the space. And so we all teamed up, we all did what we need to do. As far as, the kind of things that I've seen hackerspaces produce very, very well is sophisticated small electronic widgets that are usually the brainchild of 1 or 2 members. Mm-hmm. Because we're talking about something where, I don't know if you're familiar with the 80-20 rule.
Pareto's law.
Yeah. The 80-20 rule applies in all levels of life, and specifically in places like here. The application of that is that, let's say you have 100 members, only 20% of those people are actually going to be productive and able to do anything on the project that you're thinking about, right? So even if a fairly large hackerspace like Crashbase or like, Makers Local or whatever, the 80-20 rule applies, and then take that now on top of that and say, even within the 80-20 rule, those 20% have their own projects to work on, right?
Yeah.
So it's very challenging to get a hackerspace to unite on a project. I would say that is now at the same time, if a already existing team of people wants to become members of a hackerspace and use the resources of said hackerspace to do it, that is an appropriate course of action. But it's kind of like the difference between a college and a company, right? A company exists, to make profit, but in a perfect world, a company exists to make a good product, right?
Exactly.
Right. And a company would be a company. And hackerspace is more like a university or college, where the purpose of it is to really let people study and play around with what they really want to do. In that there is no top-down directed goal of the college, although some hackerspaces like Null Space Labs, research intensively and do a lot of work in surface-mount electronics, in digital analyzers. They have a whole lot of really cool stuff coming out of there. We have 2 products coming out of Crashbase. We have like a bunch of products coming out of, Null Space Labs, So I'm not answering your question, am I? The answer to your question is
well, I guess yes, I should probably ask it better. It's let's assume you don't have, this isn't like a organization-wide project. If you had, like you said, a team of a small dedicated, maybe 2, 3, 4 people, do the tools exist such that they could work on a CubeSat, an orbital project, or something, kind of taking out the organizational aspect of it. Like the tools are that good now?
Yeah, you get 3 guys who are smart and 50 grand, and and assuming that they can, it always comes down to an issue of capital. I know the question you keep trying to ask, and and the answer to that question is absolutely yes. These spaces do have the capability to build these kind of things. Some parts do have to be shopped out to more sophisticated machine shops, and the most sophisticated hackerspace I'd imagine is Tech Shop. Which isn't quite a hackerspace in my mind. They're a business, so the community aspect of Tech Shop is not as important. And I know that there are people that are working out of there. Team Phoenicia is one that is doing an entire lunar lander challenge style flying robot, out of there. It's Will Barrett who's in charge of that project, and they're doing a fairly good job at a Tech Shop. Effectively, any of these small companies is effectively a hackerspace. Armadillo Aerospace had no more equipment than we did when they were getting started, we're only a few pieces. We're only about $50,000 to $60,000 behind X-Core as far as capital equipment, say, in our space. Wow. The equipment really isn't the issue. It's a capital and personnel issue, and equipment is cheaper and better, and the used market is always a great place. And in hackerspaces, it's kind of like it's a place where you can go ahead and make that judgment call between, is it worth it to buy an old one and fix it, or just get a working new one? And if you want a project, you'll get the broken one, and if you want a part, you'll buy the fixed one.
So in your mind, like, the equipment's a non-issue. Like, yeah, the equipment exists to do that. You can get it. Hackspaces have it. Tech shops have it. But really, it's about the capital and the people available to work on it. Those are the 2 stumbling blocks now.
Yeah, the biggest stumbling block behind it, and the will also, to do a lot of these kind of things. Notice that, like, kind of Paul Breed is a very unique example, because Paul Breed basically used his own personal inertia to do his entire project, right?
Yeah.
Amazing guy. And the equipment that he has is just a little bit better than what I have right now. Basically the point is that it'll show you that being clever and dedicated and having a little bit of money, will cover for anything. But it's really that dedication aspect that I've seen is the biggest stumbling block to anybody completing any goal, is that they just don't have the follow through to push through and actually dedicate the time to it. So you'll start seeing more kind of projects out of these kind of spaces of significance when people start becoming more dedicated about working on their projects. And Again, that's a social issue. The best we can do is give people the ability.
Right.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes back to, your space is intended to be kind of a watering hole cultural center for Mojave. Whether people create businesses or they just, work on a personal project, that's completely cool. Your goal is just to get that conversation started.
Yeah, like I basically want to get all these people in a room working on stuff. And people just want to show up and have a beer and then leave. That's fine. If people want to go on and work on the milling machine and make a sophisticated part for their little private jet that they're building in their garage or hopefully here, I'm okay with that too. If they want to start a business, out of the space, up to a certain point, I'm okay with that. Once they start making money off of it, that's when they need to kind of spread their wings and fly. You know, but generally, the purpose of the space is to provide capability. Capability is what I'm all about because in active development programs, what kills you is not having ability. When you lose momentum, even a little bit of momentum, like for instance, right now I'm installing this door. If I just had a cutoff tool or grinder or something, I would have been done up at a half hour. Like I would have been done up before I was on the phone with you. But I didn't have that capability, so I'm muddling through it with chisels and files and just bullshit basically. And it's because I haven't nurtured that capability. And so the more capability you have in a space like this, the more quickly people can achieve their goals.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your time and thanks for speaking with me.
No problem, man.